Working to turn a congressional district red in Florida is our special guest, Scotty Moore. Welcome to Saving America. This is Dr. David D. Schein. Scotty Moore has for over 20 years worked with a Christian nonprofit and made it his mission to help transform lives through leadership development and pointing people to a relationship with Jesus Christ. He was recently endorsed by GOP powerhouse Mark Meadows and the Florida Republican Assembly. He earned a BA from Minnesota State University. We were talking about that beforehand. Of course, the University of St. Thomas in Minneapolis is a very large school. I teach for a smaller University of St. Thomas here in Houston, Texas. And we welcome Scotty Moore to his first appearance on Saving America.
Oh, it's my honor to be here, and I hope it's the first of many. I hope you all are doing well and had a fantastic 4th of July weekend. Happy Independence Day. It's great to celebrate America.
Absolutely, and it's something I think we can all focus on regardless of our political views. Scotty, tell us, what caused you to decide to take on this tough task of changing a blue district to red?
Yeah, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be on the podcast here. It's my privilege. I appreciate your viewers. And listen, I don't think I have to convince any one of your viewers to understand that America's in a real crisis right now. We've got inflation that's out of control. The power of the dollar is going down. We have our energy independence or lack thereof at risk. It was taken away on day one with the Keystone Pipeline that President Biden shut down. And we're paying the results of a lack of leadership. And so, you mentioned me going to school back in college in Minnesota State University, Moorhead. 20 years ago, I really believe the Lord birthed a passion for politics in my heart and mind. And I really believe that government matters, and how people lead affects obviously others. You consider Venezuela and look at where they were 20 years ago. They were rich and thriving. The people were having a great life, running businesses, and look at where they're at now 20 years later, devastated. And that's the result of leadership and what's happened. And so as I look to my country, our country, and I look at the direction we're heading, and I look at my amazing daughters, Isabella's 14 and Sophia's 11, I wonder, what kind of an America are they going to inherit? And what kind of America are my future grandkids that are unborn going to inherit? And what about your kids and grandkids? And so as I was reflecting on that, praying, I was really talking with the Lord because I've been involved in the Christian mission world, helping, teaching, training, equipping, serving communities, trying to help save marriages. And I felt like the Lord clearly has called us to step aside from that mission and into this mission, which is help save America. And so as I looked at my district, the district I live in, and I look at the Democrat incumbent, Darren Soto, who votes 100% of the time with Nancy Pelosi, he is basically a Pelosi puppet. She controls the strings. And I said, this is not the direction we're going. This is what we can't do. And so who is going to do it? And I decided to throw my hat in the ring because I believe it's worthy of fighting for.
That sounds great. So if elected, what are your plans for your first term in office? For what legislation will you advocate?
Yeah, well, great question. I'm proud to say on day one, the first vote that I'll ever take on the floor of the House of Representatives will be to fire Nancy Pelosi and to elect an America First leadership in the Speaker of the House. That really is essential to starting the process. So what I'm doing right now is working together with you, all the viewers, and even if you can't vote for me, you still can help me get elected. Remember, it's Scotty with a Y. And so we need to take back the House. And when we do that, we get to fire Nancy Pelosi so that we can begin the hard work of putting America first and saving America. And so a lot of the legislation I'm going to be pushing forward is going to be America First legislation. That means continuing building that wall. And by the way, my wife is Brazilian. I lived 6 years in Brazil. I have family and friends in Brazil still. I traveled extensively throughout South America. I am absolutely for immigration legal immigration. 16 years ago, we've been married for 19. 16 years ago, my wife became a US citizen legally, by the way. And so we need to have a strong border. We need to have energy independence. We need to have a strong defense to avoid the mishaps and the craziness that's happening in Ukraine and what happened in Afghanistan. And so those are the things I'm going to be pushing for and that we need and that we do not have right now. I mean, it's no mistake. And look around, we do not have that. Leadership matters, my friend. Even consider right here in Florida, my great state. What if Governor DeSantis had lost the election? Where would we be? And because he won, we have great leadership and we're known throughout the world. He is not just Florida's governor, he's America's governor. That's the type of leadership that I'm going to be pushing in leading when I'm a U.S. congressman.
Well, that sounds terrific. And by the way, I am a very strong supporter of legal immigration. In fact, as a professor and someone who works with graduate students, and we have a reasonable number of international graduate students, I would love for somebody to give me 10 red cards and say, hey, this is really a first-class candidate. We need to put them on a fast track to legal immigration, get them a green card, let them start contributing to America. And hopefully we can get America back on the right track and have America be the most desirable place in the world to both live and work and to practice our faith. Speaking of faith, as you know, there was a recent survey that said the belief in God in the United States is at its lowest level they've ever surveyed. They also said in a parallel survey that participation in church is at record low levels. And given your experience with Christian missions and things, I wonder what your reaction was to this and its impact on America.
Yeah, well, I really believe that we're a nation where we are founded on godly principles, that the Christian, Judeo-Christian moral value and system has really enabled the growth in entrepreneurship and capitalism. But here's the challenge. We are being attacked. And again, I think you see it clearly. There's the indoctrination of kids. There's a pushing an agenda that is anti-God and more do whatever you want. And by the way, it is anti-moral. It is destroying our nation. Now, one thing that we've known and we've learned in the past is that polling isn't always accurate of what the reality is. And we've seen it. I think the reality is there are many more people who believe in God, but they're frustrated. They're maybe disillusioned with one side that keeps pushing. I think there are people wanting and willing to put their faith in God. They're looking for maybe a subset, a remnant of people who are willing to put their faith and trust and show with backbone that we have not given up on the Lord yet. I think there's a middle ground there that when showing that God is still at work in our nation, that we can, like we're seeing here with Governor DeSantis, that there will be people who return back to the Lord and return back to the faith. They haven't completely given up, but I will say this. Our faith is under attack, and it's a real question on what do you believe in and what are you willing to do to weigh into that. I believe 100% that putting your faith in Jesus Christ is the most essential thing that's impacted my life. The second most important decision was choosing to marry my amazing wife. And so it's in that order. But I believe that the Lord is not finished with our great country. And I believe that there's room for all faiths and nations to engage in here as long as they come in here legally and they bring their own faith set. But I believe 100% in the God of the Bible, and I'm a strong proponent of that. And I think we are a Christian nation here, and we have abandoned that. When we're abandoning life and we're sacrificing lives, that's very dangerous. When we are putting our nation and the morality of our nation at risk, that is very dangerous. We must turn and protect lives and protect our kids. That is what's going to help save our nation. Right now, we're not doing that. I believe the Lord's not finished with us, and I want your help to get elected so that I can be a part of helping right the ship and bring us in the right direction. The choice is clear, my friends. We got a midterm coming up November 8, 2022. We are going to either head down the same direction we're heading right now, which is towards a Venezuela type of direction, or are we going to right the ship and start saving America, bringing back that energy independence, that entrepreneurship, the thriving, protecting family values. I really believe a strong family, fathers are important. That is what helps keep America strong and safe. That's what I hope to do.
That sounds great to me. And I'm a generation older than you. And one of the things that I recall vividly is we had very difficult times in the early 1970s. There were protests about Vietnam. We had the Watergate debacle. A lot of bad things were happening in America. And there was a cover page, I think, for the Time magazine or something. And a lot of people were asking if God is dead. And I think we got through that. And I think people acknowledged that regardless of what particular religion or non-religion that you believe in, that most of us do appreciate that there is a supreme being out there, and that America in general is on the right side of that. And I'm certainly with you. I'm hoping that we're going to move in that direction. Thank you so much, Congress candidate Scotty Moore from the Center District of Florida. And how can our audience get more information about you and your campaign?
Fantastic. I was just about to jump in here. So ScottyMooreForCongress.com, Scotty with a Y. You can see the signs right over here. You can check me out. I'm on Facebook. I'm on all the social medias. You can like, you can share. We have an important deadline that continues to keep coming up each month. We keep fundraising. And so again, we got Mark Meadows. I was just meeting with a bunch of senators. You can see that with congressmen and women. We're pushing really hard. And so we need your help. Scotty with a Y, ScottyMooreForCongress.com. It's U.S. Congress District 9 against Democrat Darren Soto, who, by the way, votes 100% of the time with Nancy Pelosi. He's a Pelosi puppet. We cannot allow that to happen. So what are we willing to do, my friends? And even if you can't vote for me, you can still help me get elected. So help me out, please.
This is Dr. David D. Schein for Saving America. Thanks for joining us. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on your favorite platform.